Good evening. We're in Studio 6A with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. It's Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. How are you doing today, Mr.
Very good,
Jeckovich?
very good, thank you.
You're looking well.
Yeah.
You're looking well. I heard you had a special visitor today.
Oh, yeah. Amber is dead.
She was here with you all day, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your great-granddaughter, Amber Nicole Jeckovich.
Yeah.
She's a fine girl in her 20s, restores your faith in young people. She's a full-time missionary. She traveled the world with a surfboard in one hand and a Bible in the others. Even though she lives right on the ocean, she can roll out of bed and be in the sand. She still chases the huge waves.
Yeah.
All around. There's not a country and continent that she hasn't been through. It's such a nice girl, and it's so nice to see a young person that's Christocentric and not like so many people today that are egocentric. A lot of people today are egocentric and they care about one thing themselves, but this girl knows how it works. She knows how to spread the word of the Lord in a kind and gentle way. I heard you two fell asleep.
Huh?
I heard you two fell asleep.
Oh, yeah. She sat on the couch, I sat on the chair, yeah.
That's funny. That is really funny. So you had a pretty good day with Amber, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. She's been in Australia, she's been to Puerto Rico, she's been south of France. She stayed at, let's see, 4 months at Malibu, California surfing. Luckily, she left 2 weeks before the fire started. Luckily, she left 2 weeks before the fire started. I don't think there's been a spot that she hasn't surfed. She's always surfing those waves. She said she'd teach you how to surf one day. What do you think?
What?
Amber said she'd teach you how to surf one day.
Yeah, I'll surf?
Yeah, teach
I don't
you.
think so. No.
Well, I think you do quite well. You jogged for 80 years, so you probably...
Yeah, that was years ago.
Well, you're still looking well, and Mr. Jeckovich was born in 1925. Now we're in 2025, and he's knocking on the door of 100.
Pearly Gates.
Pearly Gates. Yeah, you have a great sense of humor. Yeah. It's interesting, though. A lot of readers and listeners, I should say, don't understand. Mr. Jeckovich said he blinked his eyes at 20, and all of a sudden he's 100.
Yeah.
That's how fast it went by.
Yeah.
You blinked your eyes at 20, and now you're 100.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Boys and girls, it's a short dance around the sun. Enjoy it while you got it, because it goes fast. Right, Mr. Jeckovich?
Yeah, fast.
It goes fast. Wow. Mr. Jeckovich wrote this book called Their Mother's Sons. His father died at the age of 43. He was a legal immigrant from Russia. He did everything right. He came through Ellis Island. And a lot of the Russians and Polish people and Italians all seemed to settle 100-some years ago in Buffalo, New York, or Niagara Falls, New York.
Mostly
right?
Niagara Falls, honeymoon city of the world.
Honeymoon capital of the world, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, Mr. Jeckovich's father's name was Marion Jeckovich, and they got a beautiful house at 3063 Orleans Avenue. And Mr. Jeckovich's father, Marion Jeckovich, he came from a horrible place in Russia, the coldest spot in probably the world. He worked in a factory 15, 16, 20 hours a day under brutal conditions. And in Russia, where you dropped is where you slept. That was your bed. So he came to Niagara Falls to give this man and his children a better life. As a result, he worked 3 different jobs to make everything work. You know, those immigrants 125 years ago came here to work, to give back to the country, to give back to their family, versus the illegal immigrants coming in today. They're just 100% pure asswipes. They come to work the system, when Mr. Jeckovich's family came to work for others to better the country, to better families' life. So the book starts from there. It's titled Their Mother's Sons. Oh, and by the way, we get text messages every day. How much is the book and where can we buy it?
Can't buy it.
Can't buy it.
It's not for sale.
Book's not for sale. It's certainly not about money. Mr. Jeckovich has plenty of money. He doesn't need your money. The book was written to be a roadmap so we could teach in earlier generations and younger people how to have a simpler and better life. How to have a simpler and better life. Yeah. And that's what the book was about. Keep in mind, when Mr. Jeckovich was born during the Great Depression, gasoline was 7 cents a gallon. Beautiful houses were $2,000 a house. Cars were $500. And they grew up, even though the things were very inexpensive, there was a lot of struggle to get by. So when Mr. Jeckovich's father died when he was 43, oh, by the way, how did you find out that your father died?
Police come to the house at 8 o'clock. Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Monday night.
So the police came knocking on your door, then what?
They said, if your father got hurt, we could take you to the hospital.
Okay, so they picked you up in a patrol car, and they took you to the hospital.
Yeah.
What happened next?
Well, I asked the nurse where my father was. He says he's downstairs.
Uh-oh, that was a red flag.
Yeah.
You thought he might have broken an ankle or a wrist, and you'd go up. Instead, you went down. Now what happened next?
Well, we got down to the morgue and they showed me where my father's laying out.
Mr. Jeckovich was 11 or 12 years old. He went down to the morgue to identify the body, and what else did you have to do?
He goes through his pockets.
What was in his pocket?
Prince Albert, Prince Albert, the tissues, they roll it up, and keys for the house, some money, quarters of dollar.
Change.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the beginning of the book. That's the beginning of the book. Mr. Jeckovich had to care for his mother starting at age 11 or 12 and to her demise when she was 89 years old.
Yeah.
That's where the book begins. Right there. Right there. At 11, all of a sudden he had to be an adult, a caregiver, and that's exactly what he did. He did exactly what he did. And he made many sacrifices, and let me just tell you what one of the sacrifices were. His two brothers enlisted in World War II, and they got very easy. They got very cushy jobs. The one brother never went to war. He stayed in the United States, teaching other cadets how to drive a Jeep.
Yeah.
Was that brother an expert Jeep driver?
No, he had a fire hydrant.
He had a fire hydrant,
Yeah.
So he wasn't no expert. So the story on this basis, if you enlist during World War II, you're going to get a very easy job in most cases. Mr. Jeckovich did not enlist. He waited till he got drafted. Tell us why he got drafted.
Well, wait, take care of my mother.
That's the story. He didn't enlist. He waited to get drafted so he could spend more time with his mother. And by getting drafted during World War II, you're almost guaranteed to go on the front line. You're almost guaranteed to go on the front line. Full-blown combat. Mr. Jeckovich was in Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today's a gift. So by going on the front line, his last battle was the Battle of Bulge. He was beat up, shot by a sniper in the shoulder. He was bombed by a dirty bomb that still has shrapnel in his leg.
Lost a hip.
Lost a hip. Trench foot frostbite.
Got the French foot right now.
Gore. It was a bloody battle. That Bastogne got surrounded in that particular areas of the Ardennes forest by 600,000 Nazis with 6,000 tanks. No one ever thought Hitler would be so crazy to send 600,000 Nazis, fighters, with 6,000 tanks through the Ardennes Forest at this time. It was the coldest winter ever record. It was 30 or 40 below. And the trees are so close together in the Ardennes Forest, it makes it impossible to get through, but he said he did it. And the weather conditions were horrible. Horrible weather conditions. Snowing like hell. So Mr. Jeckovich was at Bastogne, and he got the orders from up above, you can't let the Nazis get a foothold in Bastogne. You can't do it. You just can't do it. I'll change the course of the war. And then Mr. Jeckovich's companies, they couldn't get air support. They couldn't get anything because the weather was so bad, the planes couldn't fly for 3 or 4 days. They couldn't fly. So after about the 4th day, the skies cleared and thousands of paratroopers came down. Patton came racing in with thousands of men, and the airplanes just started bombing the Nazis. So they had some support. But during those 4 days, they held Bastogne, and 97% of his troop was completely murdered and killed and wounded during Bastogne. All that white snow was red blood everywhere. You didn't miss any. His buddy, Donald Lape, a teenager, Mr. Jeckovich says he wasn't very street smart, got hit with a dirty bomb. A dirty bomb is a nasty bomb the Nazis put together, and they put,
razor blades, screwdrivers, knives, and everything else.
They put all types of nasty stuff in this bomb, so when it blows up, it does the most amount of damage. His buddy, a teenager, Donald Lape, hit him hard, blew off his head, and the only thing left on there was his glasses hanging from his ear. Mr. Jeckovich removed the glasses, took one dog tag off of Donald Lape, and then he wrote a beautiful letter to his mother while he was recovering in the hospital in Paris. And that's that same dirty bomb that Mr. Jeckovich has shrapnel in his leg. So initially his division was affectionately called the Diaper Division. How come?
Well, they're all young kids, 19 years, 33s.
Yeah, the 33s are simply a code for teenagers, and they're affectionately called the Diaper Division. But once they held Bastogne until they got support in 3 or 4 days, 97% casualties, they had a different nickname now, the Bloody Bastards of Bastogne. The Bloody Bastards of Bastogne. Shortly thereafter, the Nazis were pushed all the way back. Hitler committed suicide, and then we had the end of that particular war in the European theater. Many soldiers during that war were worried about
Going to the
Pacific.
Yeah.
Because that war was raging on. That war was raging on. And the soldiers had enough of war. They've been fighting for years. But they thought now they're going to get sent to the Pacific. And they were worried about that. But there was only one soldier that wanted to go to the Pacific.
Patton wanted to go. Patton wanted to go, yeah.
When that war ended in Europe, he says, I got to get to the Pacific. He wanted to get in the action, right?
Yeah.
Plus they have a lot of big eagles, they had a stroke.
Yeah.
They had a lot of big eagles, they had a stroke. So this is part of the book, not all of it, but this is part of the book. And during the World War II, Mr. Jeckovich received a Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, minutes?
15.
Bronze Star Medal, Purple Heart, Army Good Conduct Medal, American Campaign Medal, European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 3 Bronze Service Stars, World War II Victory Medal, Army of Occupation Medal with Deep German Clasp, Combat Infantry Medal and Badge, Sharpshooter Badge with carbine, pistol, and machine gun bars, Marksman Badge with rifle, Honorable Service lapel button with World War II. Now these medals, by the way, weren't just in the book. These medals were from a letter we recently received from Major of the U.S. Army Michael Reyes, Assistant Chief, Awards and Decoration Branch of Department of the Army, the U.S. Army Human Resources Command, 1600 Spearhead Division Avenue, Department 480, Fort Knox, Kentucky. So this is what they have on record.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also have on record your fingerprints, and you worked a heavy-duty machine gun most of the time.
Yeah.
Tell us about what that machine gun was about.
It was a 30 caliber water-cooled machine gun.
Water-cooled.
Tripod weighed 135 pounds.
How about the tripod?
The tripod's 135 pounds.
So you had a whole staff that would be with this machine gun. It wasn't one person.
Yeah.
Once you blew out about 1,000 rounds, did you stay put?
Yeah. No, we moved on.
Moved on, how come?
Well, they zero you in. There was zero you in.
Because they had zero in on you.
Yeah.
And when you said water cooled, because the barrel got red hot, right?
Yeah.
Ah. What happens if you grab the barrel?
Well, you burn your hand right down to the bone.
Did one of your soldiers do that?
Yeah, well, I think I just started out of the Army right away.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think, this was the coldest winter record. It was 30 and 40 below. How did you keep that water from not freezing?
Antifreeze.
Antifreeze, okay. It says here in your records, the honorable discharge records, that you were 187 pounds during World War II. How many pounds are you now?
151.
You got a lot of catching up to do.
No, I don't say so.
You have 36 pounds of catching up to do.
Oh, I'll never make it. I'll never make it.
You never make it. But on a side note, both your World War II uniforms, because you're 30 pounds lighter, will fit nice and loosely.
Yeah.
It says here that you lived then at 3063 Orleans Avenue.
Yeah.
And you spent most of your life there, right?
Yeah, it was a beautiful street at that time.
Tell us about the street.
The street was a beautiful street. There were about 3 houses on the street. The street wasn't paved.
Yeah.
And the field was open across the street. You could see all the way down to the stadium.
Wow. So your mother and father got lucky to find that house.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't you say yourself you'd make the mortgage payments each month?
Oh, yeah.
Who'd you go to give them to?
I'll give it to my mother.
But I thought you had to go to someone in the Falls when you're at home to give them the mortgage payment every month.
Oh, Belden.
Belden.
Yeah, Belden,
And you went there in person?
Yeah.
I don't think there was checks being used back then.
What?
I don't think they had used checks.
No, it was cash.
You just went cash, yeah.
Yeah.
And every month you'd pay Belden, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that held the mortgage.
Yeah.
Was he a realtor and a builder?
Oh, he was a builder and everything, yeah.
So he was a straight guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says here before you entered the war, you were a sheet metal worker. What does that mean?
I worked with my uncle.
And who was that?
My uncle Andy worked with sheet metal with him.
And what did you and he
Duck work at the factory. We worked at every factory in Buffalo, Niagara Falls.
Yeah, and Uncle Andy worked at Croisdale's.
Yeah.
And he took you under his wing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the nice thing was you worked at every factory in Buffalo and Niagara Falls that you got to know what plants you didn't want to work at when you got out.
Yeah.
And which one did you decide
It's
on?
Kimberly-Clark.
It was the cleanest, right?
Yeah.
It says here in your honorable discharge records that you were frontline combat, but also says that you're a switchboard operator.
That's when they was getting me taken out of the Army. They put you in any outfit to go and started to get you out.
So this is when the war is over.
Yeah.
When the war is over, you don't go home. You gotta have a point
Yeah,
system.
you got to go through a whole formality to get out. You have points. You got to have points.
And if you didn't have the points, you didn't leave.
So they stuck with the switchboard operator.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing, isn't it? That's amazing. And it also said that you had refrigeration 10 lessons.
Oh, yeah. Well, I took some courses, yeah.
Yeah. But you primarily operated the heavy-duty machine gun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Well, we haven't read the book. We're the second time around. We're on chapter 6, Home on Furlough, and Farewell to Anne. Do you want me to read, or you want me to try to find some questions? Do you want me to read a few pages?
No, just get some questions going, yeah.
Oh, you don't want me to read?
No.
Okay, let me dig up some questions from the text messages. Let me get some text messages. Okay, I'm looking for the text messages. Give me a minute, please. Oh, by the way, I do need your dog tag number to open up the laptop. What's your dog tag number?
42965.
Okay. All right. I'm getting out the sheet that was printed out today. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, where were you born and raised?
Niagara Falls, New York.
Okay, you spent the majority of your life there,
Yeah.
and it was a beautiful city,
A beautiful street, yeah.
beautiful street. Tell us a little side note, how you kids would ice skate in front of your...
Turn fire hydrants on, flood the street up.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. Yeah. Do you think Niagara Falls is as nice now? As
No, I've seen the pictures on TV. It's a dump now.
It's not good.
It's not even a county now.
Yeah, because they lost the population. It's no longer considered a city. It's now a village. What was your family life like before the war?
Before,
Yeah.
well, regular family took care of us. We had holidays,
Okay.
Easter time, we got all new
It was
clothes.
pretty normal.
Yeah.
What kind of work did you do, Mr. Jeckovich, before being drafted into World War II?
I worked for Croydale.
Was that a good company?
Back Croydale was a female outfit, yeah.
An interesting side note, Croydale, back then things were different. You'd have taverns and nightclubs right in the middle of someone's street, right?
Yeah.
Croydale's, you were on Orleans Avenue, and the street over was completely residential. That was Monroe, and the Croydale shop was right there.
Right on the corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
couldn't do that today, but it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Did you have a business right there? Oh, that was nice. Was the Croydale family nice?
Huh?
Was the Croydale family a nice?
Oh, yeah, they're a nice family, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, before you were drafted, what were your hobbies and interests before the war?
And woodworking and electrical work. And I did stuff around the house.
Isn't that your same interest now?
Yeah.
It didn't change. You carried it through your life.
Right.
You always had those woodworking hobbies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Where did you go for basic training, and what did you think of basic training?
I went to Camp Upton, or Camp Philip Morris, no, what was it? I went Camp Upton, yeah.
In Evansville, Indiana?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And you were the most major battle was the Battle of Bulge, right?
Well, that was one of them. That was one of them, yeah.
A lot of people don't understand. They give name to them, but most of these wars
They all
are very...
blend in. They all blend
They
in.
all blend in, yeah.
Yeah.
When you were in, what was your role in combat? Were you infantry, medic, or pilot?
Infantry.
Yeah. How did you cope with the stress and dangers of the daily combat fighting?
Trying to stay alive.
Trying to stay alive, yeah. That's a hard thing to do. By the way, there were 16,400,000 young men and women who participated in World War II. 16,400,000 young men and women participated in World War II. Now, over 80 plus years later, we have less than 6,000 infantry soldiers left. Less than 6,000 infantry soldiers left. Most of them are in the early hundreds, and some might be in the late 90s. And we're losing them at a rate of 150 per day. So if you have any questions about a true frontline combat infantryman, text Mr. Jeckovich anytime at 407-366-0000. His mind is like a library. He'd be glad to ask and answer, I should say, any questions you might have. 407-366-0000. And even though there might be a question, say, let's just say, about marriage, ask him, how long were you married for?
69 years.
Yeah, so I guess it worked. Mr. Jeckovich proposed to Delphine Stulak at the Roman Catholic Basilica in Tonawanda, New York. She accepted his hand in marriage, he gave her an engagement ring, and then they walked up to the altar of the basilica, said a short prayer asking the Lord to give him a long and happy marriage. Was that prayer answered?
Yeah, well, it's 69 years.
Damn right that prayer was
She passed away, yeah.
Damn right that prayer was answered. Yeah. So if you have any questions to Mr. Jeckovich about marriage and anything from A to Z, this book is about making younger people's life easier. Oh, and by the way, if you're only like 30 or 40 years old, you really do only have about a 10% chance of making it to 100 years old. That's a real tough thing to do. Real tough thing to do. Mr. Jeckovich, he jogged for 80 years, never took a prescription, never took a vitamin, never smoked or drank, and he's in perfect health. Every morning, he reads 3 newspapers, including the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, with no glasses, with no reading glasses at all. And he has so much power left in his right arm, if he would shake your hand, he could knock you to the ground. Yeah. Yeah, minutes, please. And
Don't
keep
shake his hand. It hurts.
minutes.
2.5.
Oh, time goes by again.
Yeah,
Just like you said, you blinked at 20 or 100.
Yeah.
You went through 30 minutes like a minute.
yeah.
Interesting fact a lot of people don't know. When Mr. Jeckovich started jogging 80 years ago, it wasn't an acceptable thing. When you start jogging 80 years ago with your corduroy pants and your nasty old sweatshirt and boots, what did people yell at you?
Get off the road, you bum.
Get off the road, you bum. They thought Mr. Jeckovich 80-some years ago, or 90-some years ago, was jogging because he couldn't afford a car. Or he was jogging because he had no transportation. And so they said derogatory things like, get off the road, a bum, can't you afford a car? Sometimes they threw what?
Yeah.
What did they throw at you?
So a can of beans into me.
Yeah, they threw empty cans of Genesee beer. And one time some fool smacked him on the head with a full can of Campbell's soup. An interesting thing is, all these people that said derogatory things to Mr. Jeckovich 80 or 90 years ago, because he was trying to better his life, I assure you, they're all pushing up daisies, and this man is sitting right here, right in front of you. Tell us how you got started jogging.
I read a book by Johnson. He said you should run consistently. Don't run stop. Run consistently. So I took his advice and started running.
Minutes?
1 minute.
So you're trying to say, don't run short and then stop. Run consistently.
Set a goal. Set a goal.
What
Yeah.
kind of speed? Medium, low, or high speed?
Well, it's your constitution. How fast you can run.
And you didn't miss for over 80 years, right?
No, I ran every day.
What'd you do in the snow?
Ran.
What'd you do in the rain?
Ran.
Also, you worked at Kimberly-Clark for 35 years,
Yeah.
and you walked to work every day.
Yeah.
What would you do? Go walk to work in the snow?
Walked.
Rain.
Walked.
So that was another good exercise thing.
Yeah.
About how far was your house?
About 3 miles.
So that was nice.
Yeah.
But weren't you worried you coming home at midnight to getting jumped?
No, there was a different culture then. You didn't have to worry about it.
It was clean.
Yeah.
No problems, man.
No. Never worried about it.
So you didn't worry about it one single bit.
No.
Would you worry about it now?
Oh, yeah, different culture, yeah.
You probably think you'd be have trouble now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.